Eli, the high priest and judge. Eli was a prominent figure in Israel during the transition period, serving as both high priest and judge in the time of Samuel's youth before the establishment of the monarchy. He was a descendant of Ithamar, one of Aaron's younger sons, which indicates a shift in the high priestly line from Eleazar's descendants. Eli lived and served in Shiloh, where the Tabernacle, the central place of worship for Israel, was located. It was there that Hannah, heartbroken by her barrenness, prayed fervently for a son and vowed to dedicate him to the Lord. Eli observed her deep anguish and initially misunderstood her, thinking she was drunk. However, upon hearing her explanation, he blessed her, saying, "Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant your petition that you have made to him." True to Hannah's vow, after Samuel was born, she brought him to Shiloh to serve the Lord under Eli's care. Eli raised Samuel, and the young boy ministered before the Lord while Eli's own sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were committing grave sins. The central tragedy of Eli's life was the wickedness of his sons, Hophni and Phinehas. As priests, they abused their sacred office by treating the Lord's offerings with contempt, taking the best portions for themselves before they were offered to God, and engaging in sexual immorality with women who served at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Eli was aware of their misdeeds, but his rebuke was weak and ineffective. "Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings with all these people. No, my sons, it is no good report that I hear the people of the Lord spreading abroad. If someone sins against a man, God will mediate for him. But if someone sins against the Lord, who can intercede for him?" He failed to restrain them or remove them from the priestly duties. Because of Eli's failure to discipline his sons and his honoring them more than God, a man of God came to Eli with a severe prophecy. "Why then do you scorn my sacrifices and my offerings that I commanded for my dwelling, and honor your sons above me by fattening themselves on the choicest parts of every offering of my people Israel?" The prophecy declared that Eli's household would be cut off, his strong arm and his father's house would be weakened, and no old man would be left in his house. Both Hophni and Phinehas would die on the same day, and a faithful priest would be raised up in their place. Soon after, the Lord himself spoke directly to young Samuel, revealing an even more dire judgment. "Behold, I am about to do a thing in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears it tingle. I declare to him that I am about to punish his house forever for the iniquity that he knew, because his sons were blaspheming God and he did not restrain them." Samuel, though terrified, faithfully relayed this message to Eli. Eli's response: "It is the Lord. Let him do what seems good to him," while appearing submissive, also indicating a fatalistic acceptance rather than a proactive attempt to truly rectify the situation. The fulfillment of the prophecy came swiftly. The Philistines attacked Israel, and the Israelites decided to bring the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh to the battle, believing it would guarantee victory. Hophni and Phinehas accompanied the Ark. However, Israel suffered a crushing defeat, losing 30,000 foot soldiers. The Ark of God was captured, and Hophni and Phinehas killed. When a messenger brought the news to Eli, who was 98 years old and blind, he was primarily concerned about the Ark of God. Upon hearing that the Ark had been captured, Eli fell backward from his seat by the gate, broke his neck and died. He had judged Israel for 40 years. His daughter-in-law, Phinehas' wife, died in childbirth shortly after hearing the news, naming her son Ichabod, meaning the glory has departed from Israel, because the Ark of God had been captured. Eli's story is a tragic account of a leader who failed to prioritize God's honor over his familial affections, leading to the downfall of his household and a dark period of Israel's spiritual life. Subscribe to the channel or St. Nicholas will slap you when you get to heaven. Become a member of the channel and get exclusive members-only content, courses, articles, audio, and much more, all in one place. We add new materials every single month, and we'd love to have you. Check out the links in the description or in the links for the channel. The themes in Eli's story. First, the consequences of parental failure. Eli's weak discipline and failure to restrain his wicked sons led directly to the severe judgment on his entire household and his own tragic death, dishonoring God. By honoring his sons more than God, by not curbing their sacrilege, Eli effectively dishonored the Lord, leading to God's judgment against him. The holiness of God and consequences of sacrilege. The narrative vividly portrays God's intolerance for contempt towards his offerings and his sanctuary, as demonstrated by the deaths of Hophni and Phinehas and the capture of the ark. Transition of leadership and prophetic voice. Eli represents an end of an era of judges and a corrupt priesthood, paving the way for Samuel, a new prophet and judge, and eventually the monarchy. Divine judgment and fulfillment of prophecy. The prophecies against Eli's house were fulfilled precisely, highlighting God's faithfulness to his word, even words of judgment. Sixth, the loss of God's glory. The capture of the ark and the naming of Ichabod symbolizes the temporary departure of God's presence and favor due to Israel's sin and priestly corruption. And lastly, the intergenerational impact of sin. Eli's sin of negligence affected not only his sons, but also the entire future lineage, demonstrated how unaddressed sin can have lasting consequences. Let's look at the key points of Eli's story. All scripture references below. He was a high priest and judge in Israel. He lived and served in Shiloh. He's a descendant of Ithamar, son of Aaron. He encountered Hannah at the Tabernacle. He received Samuel into service. His sons were Hophni and Phinehas. His sons abused their priestly office. He weakly rebuked his sons, honored his sons more than God. He received a prophecy of judgment from a man of God. God spoke directly to Samuel about Eli's judgment. He accepted God's judgment with resignation. Israel fought the Philistines and lost. His sons Hophni and Phinehas died in the battle. The Ark of the Covenant was captured. He was 90 years old and blind when news arrived. He died upon hearing the Ark was captured. He judged Israel for 40 years. His daughter-in-law named her son Ichabod. His lineage was diminished. The high priesthood eventually returned to the line of Eleazar. Subscribe to the channel or St. Nicholas will slap you when you get to heaven.